Deep within a vast, ancient forest, where sunlight dappled through a thick canopy of leaves, lived an old man named Elara. He wasn't just a resident of the woods, he was a part of it. His home was a cozy cabin built from fallen logs and woven vines, and his only family were the creatures of the forest. The squirrels would chatter on his windowsill, deer would graze peacefully by his door, and wise old owls would share silent conversations with him from the high branches. Elara understood their language, not in words, but in the rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig, and the calls that echoed through the trees. He was their friend, their guardian, and a keeper of the forest's deepest secrets. His days were spent tending to injured animals, sharing his food with the birds, and walking the winding paths, his heart in perfect harmony with the wilderness around him. One crisp autumn evening, as a storm was brewing on the horizon, a sound unlike any other pierced the forest's calm. It was the frightened cry of a child. Following the sound, Elara pushed through dense undergrowth until he found Haim, a small boy, no older than 5, shivering and alone. The boy was lost, separated from his family during a hike. His eyes were wide with fear, but when he saw Elara, with a gentle doe standing calmly by his side, some of that fear melted away. Elara wrapped the boy in a warm blanket, brought him back to his cabin and gave him a hot broth made from wild herbs. The boy, whose name was Leo, had found a new home. The storm raged outside, but inside the little cabin a new, unspoken bond was forming. The forest became Leo's classroom, and its inhabitants, his teachers. Elara taught him the ways of the woods. A family of bears showed him which berries were safe to eat and how to find honeycombs high in the trees. A clever fox taught him to track, to read the signs left on the forest floor, and to move silently through the brush. The eagles taught him to see the world from above, to understand the vastness of their home, and to spot the slightest movement from great heights. Leo learned to speak the language of the birds, to understand the warnings of the monkeys, and to swim with the grace of the river otters. He grew up not as a boy lost in the wild, but as a child of the forest itself, raised by a kind old man in a family of fur, feathers, and scales. Years passed like seasons. Leo grew tall and strong, his body lean and powerful from years of climbing trees and running with wolves. His senses were as sharp as any predator's. He could smell rain on the wind long before it fell and hear the soft footfalls of a deer from a mile away. The animals didn't just see him as a friend, they saw him as one of their own. He was the bridge between the human world he'd left behind and the natural world that had embraced him. When Elara grew old and his steps became slower, Leo took on the role of protector. He guided the herds to fresh pastures, defended the smaller creatures from harm, and ensured the delicate balance of the forest was maintained. The animals looked to him for leadership, and with a quiet strength and a deep love for his home, he accepted the responsibility. However, the forest was not without its challenges. The greatest of these was Shere Khan, a magnificent but ruthless tiger who believed strength and fear were the only laws that mattered. Shere Khan saw the forest as his personal hunting ground and challenged anyone who dared to question his dominance. He saw Leo not as a child of the forest, but as an intruder, a human who had overstayed his welcome. The tiger resented the unity Leo had fostered among the creatures, seeing it as a threat to his solitary reign of terror. One day, Shere Khan made his move, openly challenging Leo for the right to rule. He declared that the forest could only have one king, and it would be decided by a trial of strength. The animals grew fearful, for the tiger's power was legendary. The day of the confrontation arrived. The clearing was silent, the air thick with tension. Shere Khan, a striped phantom of muscle and fury, circled Leo, his growl a low rumble that shook the ground. But Leo did not stand alone. From the trees, the monkeys chattered their support. The wolves stood at the edge of the clearing, their loyalty unwavering. The great bear Baloo stood behind him, a silent, furry mountain of strength. Leo didn't rely on brute force. He used the wisdom the forest had taught him. He used his agility, taught by the monkeys, to evade the tiger's powerful lunges. He used his knowledge of the terrain, taught by the fox, to lead Shere Khan into a tangle of thick vines. He used his voice, calling to the eagles above, who swooped down to distract the mighty predator. It was not a fight of claws and teeth, but a battle of wits, courage, and unity. Finally, using a cleverly constructed trap of vines and branches, Leo ensnared the tiger, proving that intelligence and community were more powerful than brute strength. Defeated but not harmed, Shere Khan was forced to acknowledge Leo's right to lead. From that day on, Leo was known as the king of the forest, but he was not a king who ruled with an iron fist. He was a king who served. He ruled with compassion, wisdom, and a profound respect for every living thing. From the smallest insect to the tallest tree, he showed that true leadership isn't about dominance or power. It's about harmony, understanding, and the courage to protect those you love. His story became a legend, a reminder that our greatest strength comes not from being above nature, but from being a part of it. It teaches us that kindness is a universal language, and that when we live in balance with the world around us, we find our true home and our truest self. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the heart of the forest. If you enjoyed Leo's story and its message, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious and stay kind.